Upset when somebody cuts you off in traffic? Come on, come on. Raise your hand if anyone you love has let you down. Raise your hand if anybody you love, you lost them. So what do? How do you handle it? F it, right? Fuck it. Is that what you do? I did. It didn't work. Forgiveness has worked for me. It's not easy. It takes time. I work at it every day. But forgiveness is my formula, my key, my secret sauce of standing before you today and allowing myself the opportunity, the courage to talk to you, to be strong enough to live my dreams. You know, we're not going to walk on coals. I'm not going to make you stand up and dance. This isn't Tony Robbins, even though I like him. I'm just simply going to tell you a story. As you saw in the video, I come from the American dream. My dad is a Greek Cypriot guy that came to the States. He wanted the opportunity to have a better life. You know, America, being a guy in a little island called Cyprus, to be able to move to the States and have a better education, Muscle Beach, the sports, the style, the fashion, the food. We had family members that came to the United States that were successful and stayed. So he took off. You know, of course, the family supported him. And love at first sight, he meets the American beautiful blonde woman, happened to be my mom. And it was a beautiful, beautiful marriage. They were happy. And then I'm in the picture. And I come from a family that is full of love. And I remember that through my core right now. I can feel it. Anybody ever felt that kind of love that you remember from your parents, from friends? I can feel that right now. And that was a long time ago. I'm 32. And I remember joining the household and being around family. And my dad was always happy. And I didn't have a lot of friends. Not that I wasn't sociable or a cool kid. I just liked my dad so much. He was my hero. You know, we lived in the States and life was amazing. Just so much happiness and joy. And I've been trying to find that. And now through forgiveness, I'm finding it through myself. But everything changed, like you saw in the video, the documentary that I'm trying to make to tell my story. And how cool is it for me to be here with you, all these strangers listening to me. So again, thank you. But he got the phone call and we moved back to Cyprus. But the thing was, life didn't change. We had the same love, the same joy, but it was in Cyprus. It was his side of the family, the Greek family. And again, I felt happy, joyful. I had everything I wanted, everything I needed. I was spoiled, but I was still a good kid. But slowly the marriage started to deteriorate because I don't know if you guys know, but Greek culture, very traditional. So they never liked the idea of him marrying an American blonde woman, even though he was happily married, successful, came back home to take over the family business because his dad got sick. And then there was this beautiful blonde curly-haired boy. Things have changed, as you can see. But the marriage slowly started to deteriorate, and I noticed it as a young kid. I was around 8, 9 years old, and I could feel the joy was disappearing, the happiness, what I was so accustomed to, what I was so fortunate to have that so many people in this world don't. You know, and I come around the corner, and I see my dad and my mom's face, and I've never seen this anger between my parents before. I could feel it before I even got there. And they were like, we can't do it anymore. It's over. But my mom said, like in the video, I don't want anything, just give me the kids. Give me the opportunity to go back home, what I know, to the States and be with my family, but the kids can come see you anytime. They deserve to be in your life and vice versa. You don't have to pay me child support. Just please, please, Pete, my dad's name, Petros in Greek, just let me have the kids. And she convinced him. And we moved back to the States. And again, life was joyful again. And I understood what was going on, but I didn't. You know, my mom just said, you didn't do anything wrong. Because part of me was like, is it my fault? Am I a bad kid? No, it's just mommy and daddy can't do it anymore. But you can see your dad whenever you want. So we came back to the States, and I come from a nice condo, 5 minutes from the beach. My dad was very wealthy. He owned a company with his family. To living in a double-wide trailer with 10 other family members. My grandmother, Uncle Tommy, Aunt Bama, Chamberlain, Nakoa, Winter, my mom, did I say Uncle Jeff? Gabriella, and me, 10. But the way I was raised and the joy and what my parents taught me, I wasn't mad, I wasn't embarrassed because there was food on the table. I was with family again, I was loved, I had joy. And I'm so proud that I wasn't embarrassed that I lived in a trailer and that things have changed. I had food on the table. Sometimes I slept on a couch. Sometimes I slept on the floor. Sometimes we shared a bed. My mom worked 3 jobs to make sure that what I was accustomed to, I still had. So she made sure I still had Nike shoes, Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, Nautica, which is funny, it's coming back into style again. Isn't that crazy? She worked as a cocktail waitress on a casino boat because it's illegal to gamble. So they have casino boats and you go to North Carolina waters. And then once you get out there, you can gamble and then you come back. So cocktail waitress, she worked at JCPenney and she worked at a strip club. My mom was not a stripper. She was a house mom where you take care of the girls, you make sure their heads are on straight and they show up to work or on stage on time. But my mom was willing to do whatever she had to do to provide for me, to give me the opportunity to go out in the world and believe in myself. Not that a t-shirt with Tommy Hilfiger matters, but it's nice when you feel good about yourself when you step out a door. And I'm so proud to have a mother like that. You know, my dad was my hero. In Greek culture, you know, your firstborn son's a big deal. Anybody ever seen Lion King? You know, when they hold up Simba, you know, the movie 300, that's my people, that's my father, that's what I come from. And I was so used to that. But things started to change. Slowly lost contact with my father, phone calls all the time, cards for Christmas, birthdays. I'm slowly losing my hero, my guy, my rock, the guy I want to make me say, hey, I'm proud of you, man. So we slowly lose contact. We finally, my mom gets on her feet financially to where we get our own place. And then she meets a man, falls in love, ends up being my stepfather down the road, but they broke up before they got married. So we lived with a friend in another double wide trailer, but I had food and I had a bed. Sometimes it was a floor, sometimes it was a couch. And then she said, hey, you guys are great, but like I need my house back. So we understood, stayed with another family where they had 2 girls, and then they let me, my mom, and my sister stay with them. And I'm forever grateful for them giving me my family, the opportunity to have a roof over our heads. And it's crazy to think about how lucky you are just to know people like that. You know, I'm very fortunate. I could be on the streets. I moved to LA and I can't believe the homeless problem. I've never seen anything like it. So I'm forever grateful for those people. But my mom eventually married that guy that she broke up with and turned out to be my stepfather. And I was always hesitant because, you know, I love my dad and I want to protect my mom. I didn't want to see her heart broken again. But we ended up forging a relationship. But as again, like I was saying, slowly losing my hero, my father, that guy that used to be me. And then I'm just tossed to the side. So I turned out to be a halfway decent kid in high school. I was a very good football player, ranked in the state for tackles, sacks, got nominated for Hit of the Year, won a bunch of awards. And I always wanted my dad to be able to watch me play football, but he wasn't there. We tried to get him to come visit, he didn't. I tried, and me, I'm a man's man. I would love for my father to see me knock the hell out of somebody, to you know, give me some advice on my first date, you know, fix my jacket before I go on a date, you know. But I didn't have that. My stepdad kind of did, but it's just not the same. I wanted my dad, my hero. So I come graduation, senior year. I'm like, man, my dad's got to come. You think my dad's going to show up? Hopefully, right? I'm praying, I'm thinking about it. I'm begging for it, my hero, to be there to tell me that I'm good enough, you know. So this chip started to develop on my shoulder, this pain, this anger, to where I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? Why doesn't my hero want me anymore? Why? What's wrong with me? Tell me. I need to know. So we call him, hey, Dad, I'm graduating. I graduated. I'm going to go to college, you know. And he said, no, I'm not coming. And it broke my heart. And I didn't talk to my dad for a very, very long time. And I got angry. I lost my way. I gained 40 pounds my freshman year of college. I was 160 pounds, got up to 200 pounds. I majored in Wendy's, double bacon cheeseburgers, spicy nuggets, Waffle House All-Star Special. Anybody had that before? Miller Lite beer pong, and Captain and Coke. I still can't even smell Captain Morgan anymore. I lost my way. You know, I was doing the college thing, hanging out with the wrong people. And I think that's part of college too. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. You know, I didn't hurt anybody, smoked a little pot, but I never did anything else than that. And long story short, my cousin kind of pulled me aside one day and said, man, you got a lot going for you. You're a good looking guy. Sky's the limit. But I don't know what happened to you, man, but you need to get back to being you. Stop hanging out with these people. Get back in shape, man. get back to the London that I know, and then keep pushing, keep trying to be better. So 4 months later, I whipped myself into shape, and I was in best shape of my life, and I got back to me, hanging out with the right people, feeling more fulfilled. But again, I came around that corner, but it was my mom and my stepfather arguing in each other's faces, nothing physical, just pain, anguish, disappointment. So I'm like, man, here we go again. Anybody ever felt that before? Gone through divorce, parents, or hurts, right? So my first job, I print t-shirts at a beachwear store, like Spring Break 2004 Myrtle Beach. And I was working. My stepfather calls me. He never really called me. And he said, man, your mom's drunk. Like, I've never seen her like this. My mom wasn't a big drinker, never drank. Maybe a glass of wine with friends, cocktail party. Never drank, though. Said, your mom is wasted. I can't even talk to her. She won't listen to me. She's throwing our flowers and pots in the yard. She's yelling at me, causing a scene. He's like, I need your help. I need you to leave work. And I've never experienced this before. I've felt pain between my parents and losing my dad, but I never saw my mom struggle. My mom turned into my hero. So she was still holding me up high like I was talking about. And I came home, and it was like she was a different person. Like a demon took over my mother. And I remember trying to talk to her, and my heart's racing, and I feel like I'm suffocating, and I'm like, Mom, talk to me. Like, how can I help you? But when you're so inebriated, there's nothing you can do. So I go to my stepfather. He's doing folding laundry. And I was like, Derek, I don't know what to do. He said, me neither, man. And I cried, and I said, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry my mom is doing this to you, to me, our family. I'm sorry. And it's the first time I saw him cry. It was the first time me and him had a real connection. And he said, it's not your fault, man. We hugged, and I just gathered my thoughts, and I carried her up to the bed. She was dead weight, 125 pounds. I had to lift her up and carry her to the bed and lay her down. And slowly, obviously, she began a drinking problem. They eventually got a divorce. And I'm this 20-some-year-old college kid making a comeback, getting back in shape, hanging out with the right people. And I'm like, man, I need to go help my mom. She's falling apart. She's taking it out on my little sister, Gabriella. I need to make sure there's food on the table. I got to help pay bills. Even though I want to be this 20-some-year-old kid, I'm waiting tables, making pretty good money for myself in a place, Myrtle Beach. Waiting tables, you can make some pretty good money and have a decent living as a 20-some-year-old college kid. But I put that stuff on hold to be able to not let my sister and my mom fall apart. So I was like, how can I take control of this situation and not let my sister feel what I just felt with my father? So what I did was I left the 20-year-old college guy, even though I was, again, I was doing pretty well for myself as in hanging out with the right people, going to the gym. I moved in with my mom, started paying for bills. My mom got too drunk. I'd take my sisters to school in the morning. I'd carry my mom to bed. I watched my mom fall apart before my very eyes. It was the worst thing I've ever been through in my life because I want to be the hero. I want to save her, like the guys in the movies, like the way my dad made me feel, the way I thought of him. And I'd go on dates. You meet women. Well, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. You try to get to know somebody. But when you first meet somebody, how do you date and tell them, hey, well, my mom's an alcoholic. I live at home with my mom and my sister, but I'm actually doing the right thing. I'm not a loser. Do you tell somebody you just met that kind of story? Do you get that personal? So I always felt like something I was, in a way, I'm missing out on something, but in the end, I made the right choice, and I tried to provide for my family. And I'm so glad that I did because I just wanted to protect my sister and her not feel the pain that I live with to this day. So we moved to an apartment after being in a 5-bedroom, 2-story house. And my mom is falling apart. I'm finding 50 beer cans hidden in a closet, empty. I'm finding wine bottles. All she does is drink all day, and you can't strap somebody down that needs help and make them go to AA. I wish it was that simple. I tried it. It didn't work. But I watched my new hero fall apart before my very eyes. And It's Mother's Day. It's 9:32 a.m. Phone rings. And again, Mother's Day, folks. My aunt calls and said, your mom passed away. And it's like a movie. Everything stops. I can feel it right now. I'm shaking. And I feel like somebody's suffocating me. And I said, Aunt Carolyn, promise me you'll help me take care of my sisters. So I had, Gabriella was 18 at the time. That's the sister I have through our father, the Greek guy. My mom's second marriage, they had Kennedy. Kennedy's my second sister that was 10 years old at the time, and I'm 25 that I get the news that my mom passed away. She was with my uncle, her brother, and he ended up finding her. So thankfully, he was a strong enough man that could handle it versus my little sisters finding her in the morning. Thank God. And she said, London, I got you. But there's no money in the bank. I'm 25 years old, college kid. There's no life insurance. I can't call my dad. Me and my stepdad don't have a relationship. So I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this? And my sister wasn't there when I got the phone call. Her boyfriend went and got her. She was working at a grocery store. And he's like, I want to do it, London. Do you mind if I go get her and bring her to you? And I said, I love you, kid. You love her? Go ahead, man. I'll sit here and wait. And I'm just trying to, hopefully I'm waking up from a nightmare. Sadly, I wasn't. And she comes through the door. It burst open. And I hear a roar, a pain, a scream I have never heard before in my life. And it makes my hair on my arms stand up. And she just roared and she cried and screamed in my arms. And that was the day that I started taking control of my life. And I made that little girl a promise. Because Kennedy wasn't there. She was with her dad, thankfully. My ex-stepfather. And I said, I will never let you down. You will not feel what you have felt by not having your dad around and by your mom sadly letting you down by passing away on accident. My mom didn't commit suicide. She drank too much and took some medicine and accidentally fell asleep and never woke back up. And I know it in my heart that she did not commit suicide. Just life beats the shit out of us, man. I get it. It's painful. The people you love, your hopes, your dreams, and it doesn't happen. And you're like, what do I do? But I was like, I've got to figure this out because I deserve this. And you know who deserves it more than me? My two little sisters. They deserve to be happy. Remember that little boy that I told you about in the beginning? Remember that joy? You guys remember? Everybody remember? Take control of your life, and you can be in control, and you can decide whether you fail or not. And at least you know you gave it all you had, and you're not dependent on somebody else. That's something easier to live with than dependent on somebody else, because they can let you down. So I made him that promise. And then 2 weeks later, I got a job in corporate America, sales, suit every day, not waiting tables anymore. I'm like, I'm going to take care of my sister. I'm going to help pay for college. I needed a new car, but she needed a new car more than me. So we got her a new car. She pitched in too, which was really cool. 18 years old, working at a grocery store, pitched in some money. I needed the help because I couldn't afford the whole thing. And I forged this relationship. You know, I took on being a father. And when the decisions you make affect somebody else, your life changes forever. Anybody, parents, kids? Yeah, so, but I learned how to communicate. I learned to be selfless. And I learned the importance of quality time. Because I never really talked to my sister like that. I never forged that kind of relationship, but we had this bond. You know, we made sure to spend time and put our phones away and go to dinner. And I fell in love with my sister in a whole new way. Like, she became my hero, my rock. And through that tough time, we got through it together. And believe it or not, some people judge me for this, but once I buried my mom, I went to a wedding. One of my best friends was getting married, and I wanted to be there for him, and I wanted to get away from all the pain that you deal with for 2 weeks. You know, the wake, and then what's the thing called? You go to eat after the funeral? Yeah, and then everybody wants to talk some more while we eat. You know, which I love food, but come on, man. And I love that guy, and I believed in celebrating death and life together. So I went, and he pulled me aside towards the end of the wedding. And the talk he gave me and the way he looked at me for thanking me for being there after what I've been through was worth any judgment anybody gave me. And most importantly, my sisters were okay with me leaving. So Corporate America was a nightmare. I wasn't happy. I did it for the right reasons, but I wasn't fulfilled. Somebody was telling me when to be there, always working on holidays, pay plans always changing, but I wanted to do it. I tried to do it. It didn't work for me, so I had the opportunity to leave with two rock stars that made a lot of money in the business, and they gave me an opportunity to be their bar manager at a restaurant. And I come from the restaurant business. I love the restaurant business. And they gave me a chance to run their bar for them, and I made the most money I ever made in my life. It was amazing. I felt fulfilled. I was the main bartender, so I'm the rock star that's always there. I get to wear whatever clothes I want, even though everybody else had a uniform, because they trusted I had good style. So, but I wanted more for the right reasons. I was like, man, I deserve to be doing more in life than standing behind a bar and saying, hey, you want an old fashioned? I do make a damn good old fashioned, but I wanted to do more. So I forged a friendship with a kid that became my best friend. He's like the younger, better version of me. And he said, hey man, my dad's gonna open up a restaurant in Florida. You wanna be an owner? I said, hell yeah, dude, let's go open up a restaurant. I didn't ask one question. I just sold everything and moved. 7 months in, it was a complete disaster. We had a rat problem, place was awful. But the main problem was, it wasn't the food, it wasn't the location, it wasn't how we service people. We had a problem as a team. It was a toxic environment, like in a locker room. We couldn't get along, so I'm looking at myself in the mirror 7 months in. I'm broke financially, mentally, physically, spiritually. And I listened to Lewis Howes, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with my life? And I was like, time to take control again. Take control, London. If you're gonna bet on somebody, don't bet on your friend and his dad and their cousin, and it's your fault you didn't ask any questions. You just went off for the right reasons. I did go up and open my restaurant with them, but even if your dad wants you to open up a restaurant, folks, or a business, ask a couple questions, okay? If you take anything from this. So Lewis Howes says, please remember this today as well. I'm gonna give you guys some advice. Find someone you admire the most, tell them you'll work for them for free, and you'll pay them. I bet they never heard that before. I always admired Steve Weatherford, always respected him, always thought he was awesome. A white punter in the NFL gets voted NFL's fittest man. It's pretty cool. So I DM'd him. That night, he writes me back and says, man, that's a hell of an attitude. That's the kind of guy I'm looking for. He said, but I would never take your money. He said, I'm actually putting an internship together. I'm looking for 2 guys, and 1 guy I'm gonna keep full time. So I keep in touch with him. I'm like, man, I'm done with the restaurant business for a while. What am I gonna do? Let me bet on me. So I moved to New York. Never been there before, but my best friend that I failed at the restaurant with, his brother was a personal trainer. What do I love besides the fitness industry or the restaurant business? The fitness industry. So he's like, I'll take you in, help me with social media, sleep on my couch till you figure it out. So I sold everything I had left. I moved there with 2 suitcases, and I slept on his couch for 5 months. And after my mom passed, I didn't like being alone. But I embraced being alone in New York. My buddy that I went to his wedding, he said, I discovered myself in New York. Go to this spot in Upper West and just walk and enjoy the moment. Get comfortable being alone. Go on the train during rush hour. Get comfortable being smashed in there. Embrace it, kid. Take ownership of your life. So I did, and it was amazing. I became a lone wolf. I embraced being alone. But New York was never home. I got Greek in my blood, Mediterranean, cold weather, can't do it. But what offers everything New York does with a beach, because I'm a beach guy? LA. Never been to the West Coast before. Didn't know anybody. No job lined up. 10 grand in the bank. I took my 2 suitcases and I moved there. And I wrote down several goals. I said I would work with Steve Weatherford in 5 years. I said I would date a beautiful blonde. I said I would live by the beach. I said I would train at a private gym and have top clients. I said I would get sponsored by a beard company. I said I would do podcasts. I said I would stand before strangers and tell my story. And by not giving up, I'm here today. But 3 months in to LA, we doing? We good? 3 months into being in LA, I start running out of money. It took longer than I thought to find a job. Everybody looks good in LA and it wants to be a bartender. Everybody has a good resume, you know? Everybody's a personal trainer. So I'm running out of money. I'm getting embarrassed. I'm getting nervous. But I call a couple friends. They loan me money. And I bartended a golf tournament. But I was 2 days away from not bartending this golf tournament or having the courage to ask a couple friends for help. And if I would have left, I wouldn't be here. I'd be bartending or working at my friend's landscaping business that he offered me to do. And I'm grateful he was going to bring me in. But I bartended that tournament, and I didn't give up. I kept believing in myself, and ultimately I forgave myself. And I forgave my dad, I forgave my mom, I forgave my stepdad. But ultimately I had to forgive myself and realize that I'm good enough and I don't need my dad to pat me on the back, as amazing as that feeling would be. And it all started to happen. All those things happened. I got sponsored by the beard company. That big guy back there gave me an opportunity. I dated that beautiful blonde. I trained awesome clients. I did a couple podcasts to where it got me noticed here, you know. And it's one of those things, I'll leave you with this, guys. If you're on the downside of advantage, it's possible. You can have what you want. You can be what you want. You can do whatever you want, but you got to work at it more than you ever thought. But it will be worth more than you ever imagined. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to make a commitment to yourself and own it. Motivation, external motivation only lasts for so long. My talk will last for so long, but make a promise to yourself that you can be something, you can do something, and you will. I guarantee it. You know, my mom always said, may all your dreams come true, when she wrote me letters and cards, my birthday, Christmas. Well, those dreams are coming true right now. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. There's so much more I wanted to say, but 30 minutes goes by so fast. But thank you so much. And, you know, this guy coming up, I thought he was a great guy. I thought he'd be cool. But I got to know him. I got a chance to forge a friendship, a guy to believe in me, to write programs for his business. To be standing here with him, to share the floor, I couldn't be more proud, you know. And when I found out he was the real deal, we went to breakfast the first time I met him, and he was so nice to the waitress. And when you treat the janitor like the CEO, that's when you know you're kind, you're the real deal, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Steve Weatherford, ladies and gentlemen.